Okay, welcome to another video. Um, Today we're at the same airport as the last video, which is Seattle Tacoma International. Um, you can see that we're fogged in. I wanted to talk about some VOR navigation, but I want to learn how to use. I want to display using the autopilots. Um, it it makes it a little easier if you see what's happening with the autopilot and how it does it. Then it's easier to kind of understand how it's done, and then you can try it with a joystick, and I find out that you have a little better luck. So the last video was landing and taking off, setting the runway on nav 1 and learning how to use the VOR 1 to line your runway and your glide slope up, and using the throttles to land, to control your airspeed and your glide slope. This one we're going to use the radio to do the same thing. We've got our runway set on nav 1, and our VOR to the airport is 11680 is set on nav 2. So what I'm going to do is take off and fly out, and then fly a reverse course back and in the traffic pattern, and we're going to come around to our runway, and I'm going to show you how to use the autopilots to land with. The first thing we're going to do is set our autopilot to hold altitude this time. I'd like to hold about 2,000 feet, and we'll set that to 2,000, and we'll just go ahead and click the altitude hold. That turns the autopilot on, and we're going to go ahead and click heading hold, and that's going to hold our runway heading on takeoff. So let's get to it. Okay, plane's off the ground and climbing. We're going to let the plane level out at 2,000 feet, and then we're going to start our turn to the west. I'll give you a nice external view here of just how foggy it is. And there's the runway down there where we just left. You can see it's pretty socked in. Makes it a lot of fun. We're going to start our turn out about 1,500 feet. It looks like we're breaking through the fog layer. And we're just going to turn out somewhere a little more than west, about 250. Once you learn how to successfully use the autopilots, it'll teach you what the procedures are, and then you can mimic that easier. It'll basically teach you to fly, but you have to understand how things work as you go. So we're gonna go back through this VOR one lesson on you finding the runway and how the plane finds the runway, and you can watch it line up and match the glide slope, and then we'll apply the flaps at the appropriate times and adjust our throttles to land better. We're in a different plane today. The 172 Cessna we used in the last tutorial. In this tutorial we're using the 180 Skylane. It's a little faster plane, and doesn't have a lot more bells and whistles than the other plane, but it's still a good trainer, but you will get more airspeed out of it. Okay, I'm going to stop the video here, and I will continue once we're south of our runway, looking back toward it, and we'll let the autopilot line everything up and kind of show you how that works. So we'll be right back. Okay, as you can see, I've flown a pretty large traffic pattern. We're 13.7 out off the runway. We're waiting on our nav1 needles to start to move, and you can see I'm flying a little less than northeast, waiting for our runway to come in. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click the approach button, and when the plane's receiver picks up our approach needle swinging around to the runway, it'll turn the plane automatically and line us up with the runway. It'll also handle the glide slope, so it'll pretty much land us. We just have to be ready to cut the throttles at the right time and take control of the plane. The Z shortcut on the keyboard will turn the autopilot off automatically. As you can see, the plane is turning by itself. It's trying to nail down that needle. So we're just going to let it do its work. I've got the throttles cut back a little bit just to slow us down to about 100 knots. We'll slow down more than that for the landing, of course. Just wanted to give the plane time to turn. If you go too fast, it doesn't work. As you can see, our VOR1 needle is starting to swing into position. The plane has orientated itself north. As you can see, our landing coordinates should be 340. So the plane will turn itself once this needle passes through. And there the plane goes turning. Autopilot's going to turn us and face the runway. when you're in fog like this or rainy weather and you can't really see, you just have to trust your instruments. Just keep your eye on the horizon instrument. Make sure your wings are level, and your vertical speed indicator to make sure that you're flying level, that the nose is not pitched up or down, and just trust your instruments. Okay, you can see our needle's moving back toward the center, and we're 7.3 out. We're waiting on the glide slope to start coming down in a minute. Okay, I've dropped our RPMs a little bit in anticipation of that glide slope. I want to go 10 degrees of flap when that needle starts down. Alright, the needle's starting down, so I went 10 degrees of flaps. It says we're 4.4 out. And our airspeed's holding around 80. And I'm going to go ahead and drop 20 degrees of flaps. Okay, needle says we're on the runway and on the glide slope. 80 knots, going to drop full flaps. We're 3.0 nautical miles out. It shouldn't be long before we see the runway. Alright, we just dropped under 1,000 feet, so shouldn't be long now. and I can see the runway threshold, so I know we're on target, and it looks like we're looking pretty good. I'm going to hit the Z key and turn the autopilots off in just a few seconds. And there we go, on the ground without a problem. And that's how to use the autopilots to do an automated landing. Play with it. Uh, you can get your nav information from the map. Just click on the airport that you want and take those numbers, put them in the radio, and have a good time with it. Hope you enjoyed the video, and may all your landings be planned.